Hey guys, Moxie here, and can you believe it? It is almost time for the South American Regional Qualifiers for TI11. Those will be starting on Sunday the 3rd, and they're going to run all the way until the 7th. I will be doing some community casting of this on my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MoxieCasts, but I will be away the first day, so we won't start coverage until Monday. But I'm hoping to get a couple friends together, and we're going to have a great time casting some South American Dota. So I wanted to make a little video and talk about my 3 teams to watch. The teams that I think are going to be a lot of fun, the teams that I think are going to make it out, perhaps, or, maybe just be a dark horse and just, have something really fun going on. So the first team I want to talk about briefly is Infamous. Infamous is the darling of the group. They are probably the most favored and likely to win this qualifier, get invited to TI directly, not have to do the last chance, because they have had the best DPC showing in terms of points and whatnot here out of this particular group. You've got 2 of the players from the former Thunder Predator, or Thunder Awaken now, Leo Style and Frank. Parker has been, slowly rising up in popularity. He's been showing that he's a very solid core. He fits well with the rest of the team. And then, of course, Michael and Excel, 2 very seasoned veterans of supporting. Michael also playing some really interesting position 4s in the past. So I'm interested to see how they're going to adapt to this patch, if they're going to be able to stay on top. I know particularly Leo Style is an excellent mid laner, but is a bit of a slave to the patch in terms of, are his heroes in the meta? If his heroes are in the meta, and if they figure out, how to kind of work around a couple things, definitely going to see some great things coming out of him in the mid lane, which will then translate into helping out the entire team. But a little unsure about that just yet. That being said, next team that I think that you should keep your eyes on is Hokari. Hokari is one of those teams that kind of became one of those, I don't want to say a dark horse, but kind of the underdog team where a lot of people didn't know them super well going into the start of DPC this year, and then now have really kind of become a favorite. Lumiere, Vitaly, Gardic, these are Peruvian players. They've been around in the pub scene. They've kind of, struggled in the past to find the right combination of players. But now with, and I love the fact that Hokari is, of course, not just a Peruvian team. They are also have, the Brazilians mixed in there too. You've got Analog, you've got Theolacor. Been a huge fan of Theolacor for a long time now. I know he stopped playing for a little bit. I think partially due to the fact that whenever there were like really bad rainstorms that would come through his area, his internet would like cut out and die. So it was hard for him to have a stable connection and be able to compete. But definitely one of my favorite Elder Titan position 4s from back in the day. Very aggressive player. I enjoy watching him quite a bit. And Analog over in that mid lane has kind of, he's popped up here and there. He's not always the most consistent player. But he can have some really incredible games, especially, again, if he gets heroes that he's very comfortable with. And then I'd say the last team that I would want to really, keep my eye on is Infinity. And Infinity, I love this about them. It's really the young and the old squad. Because you've got Mariano, also known as Pepita, bit of a boomer at this point. He's been around since, gosh knows how long at this point in the South American Dota scene. But he, was there at the very, very start. He was a mid laner. He was known for his puck. Then he went to the off lane. Then he went to support because this guy just wants to play Dota. But now he's back in that off lane, so be curious to see how he performs there. Pipi is, for starters, everybody thinks it's very, very funny because of his name, obviously. But he's a very young mid laner, shows so much promise, and is very, very aggressive. Great player. I think we're going to see a lot more coming out of him in the future if he continues with Dota and continues, excelling in the rate that he is. Moose, one of those players that, like, everyone who has played with Moose, because he's played, on North American squads, he's played on a bunch of different teams, they say, this guy is so good. He's so smart. He's so, good about knowing his map movements, his positioning. You watch his Snapfire, you watch any of his heroes that he plays his position for, and this guy's an absolute beast. Yuma's also been showing a pretty consistent showing as a core player, tends to be pretty active, which is very much useful in this particular meta and the way that the game is played now. And then, of course, you've got Prada in that self-sacrificial role in the position 5. So this team, even though they did come 7th here in this division, I feel like on some days when they're on fire, they can look really, really good. And I also feel like there's something to be said about watching young developing players. And I think PP is going to be one of those guys that you'll want to say, hey, man, I've been watching this guy since the start. Look at him now. So those are my 3 teams to watch. There's some other just absolutely fantastic teams, fantastic players. Tempest comes to mind too. You've got Minos and MJZ. These 2 guys have been playing together forever. They're like a package deal. Sladine also, they used to play on Mad Kings back in the day, which I think is pretty cool. You've also got SG Esports, which is a huge mishmash of like all different types of nationalities. Faker, another one of those position 2s that has a lot of promise, that's fairly young. Widge, though, who has been around for quite a while in the Dota 2 scene. Oscar was also, he played on Thunder Awaken for a little bit. No Runes, mostly Brazilian squad, plus Mr. Jeans. I know there's some pretty diehard Mr. Jeans fans out there. Lots of potential there. Wolf team, basically, it's your Pain Gaming squad, They're getting back together for the reunion tour, so to speak. And then, of course, you've got, some of these guys from Division 2 who have a lot of hopes and dreams, and the names are familiar. Benjaz is not so much of a new name, or Dismar Kara. Those are guys that have been here for a bit, but, they're trying to find their squad. You can also see Kukahook, Sexy Yogi, names that are familiar. Arzan T, RM, and, RoboZ Benny, Hijack Pamploma. Like, these are some newer guys mixed in with some of the older squad, and so they're hopeful that they can, I'm not sure if they'll be able to unseat the top of the top here, but it's very valuable experience. It's a great way to start building, a fan base, a brand, and get noticed. So very, very excited for these qualifiers. Like I said, I will be covering them on my own channel when I get back from my trip, but I wanted to kind of give you guys something to get excited, get hyped, and create some excitement here for the South American scene. So as always, thank you so much for supporting me, and thank you so much for supporting your South American Dota scene.